I had the most amazing couple days of paramotoring. Got to fly with 3 different groups of pilots in 3 different areas, all new to me. It all started with a note from my friend Avery, who said, "Why don't you come check out my LZ, fly somewhere new?" And I did. I also reached out on the forum to see if anyone knew a place I could fly the following morning, and several people responded. And then the following night, I got an invite to fly with some guys who are just less than an hour south of me. I guess if I learned anything, it would be, if you have a question about paramotoring, reach out to the community. We have some amazing people, a ton of experience, ton of local knowledge and expertise. So reach out, but open your mind and listen to them as well. And you will be rewarded. Every time I meet people in the community, it's a great experience, a positive experience. And you don't always get that sense. If you look at the online forums, there's a lot of disagreement, a lot of conflict. Sometimes the loudest voices just get the most attention, but our community is filled with amazing people. I encourage you to reach out to them, get to know your local pilots. This is what we're up to tonight. We're at Avery's spot. And where would you say this is? Is it undisclosed?
No, it's Yadkinville.
Yadkinville.
It's Greater Yadkin Valley, yeah.
So we're in the Piedmont section of North Carolina. Close enough that we can see mountains, but pretty level here.
Yeah.
And what do we have in store for tonight?
Well, my plan is always to go around the lake. It's a really nice flight over there. And then tons of fields. This area is very rich in farming, so tons of little places we can just drop down and play around in the grass.
Yeah, it can be fun if you have those fields bordered with trees. You can kind of hop up and down in them. And
a bunch of them over there.
As long as you clear them for power lines, should be good. So gonna have a great time. Want to bring you guys along. Come join us.
Watch Avery bring this wing up into the wind. He checks the surge. Now after his lean back, boy, just a couple steps and he's away. Good technique.
All right, guys. So when I launch, there's a lot of talk about power forwards. To power forward or not to power forward. My rule of thumb is basically, if I can help it, I will not get on throttle until these lines come off of my cage. So watch, I'm gonna make sure I have full power here. Then I'll start my launch.
As soon as that wing is overhead, I know the lines are off the cage and I'm comfortable rolling onto the power. I don't go full power immediately. I like to taxi for a couple steps and feel that everything is stable, and then I'm off. The fear about applying too much thrust while the wing is still hanging back is that the lines will flex the cage and it could flex right into the propeller. It could damage the lines, it could damage the propeller, it could damage the cage and netting, and in the worst case scenario, it can pull the brake toggle and the hand into the propeller, which would be a disaster. Power forward launches are not always bad. In fact, trikes use power forwards on effectively all of their launches, but they do have strong enough cages, sometimes with double hoop or other reinforcement. And technique is still important. A little finesse goes a long way.
I did a good pre-flight with Avery. He talked to me a little bit about the neighbors and the ideal path to get up and out of that field without bothering anyone. Now that we're out of that area, what I think I'm going to do is fly mostly into the wind for a while. I know there's a vineyard over here I've visited once before, so I want to go check that out. But I'm also amazed because I see Pilot Mountain, where I traveled to last year, in the distance. I can see Winston-Salem, and I can see the mountains and the sun setting to the west behind me. I saw a mountain biking dirt track near here, and my son would love that. We recently just went out to Vancouver and then Whistler in British Columbia, and man, they have a scene out there for mountain biking. Of course, that area is beautiful, and we got to ride a little bit. We're both beginners, so you can actually get yourself in a bit of trouble there if you don't know what you're doing. But we had a great time. I'd recommend that to anyone who's looking for a bit of an adventure with mountain biking. The other thing that we got to do that was super cool out there in British Columbia was visit kind of like a national park, what they call Joffre Provincial Park. And you could climb this mountain and this trail through 3 different glacial lakes The silt in the water reflects certain spectrums of light that make it look like turquoise, blue, and green. It's just absolutely beautiful. I was going the wrong direction for a moment, but here we are. This is a vineyard that I visited before. It's called Brandon Hills, and they have a pretty little deck, and you can't really tell the elevation from here, but if you sit up on that deck and look out at this vineyard, it is so pretty. I'll tell you, one place you would never want to land is in a vineyard with all that strong wire going across it. But yeah, there's no one there. Let's see if the air is still enough that we could drop down in here. I don't see any power lines. Kind of just cruise our way down this hill. Look at this lovely property right here. Yeah, buddy. In the future. This is not mountain biking, this is motocross right here. Oh, they're working on the track right now, putting down some water. Very cool. Alright guys, so as the sun is getting lower, we're going to come back toward this lake that Avery was telling me about. Okay, so one of the most dangerous things in this sport is to fly around water. If you land in the water, you have over 70 pounds strapped to your back. If you don't have an inflation system, you might not make it out. So one thing to do, I don't have inflation here, so what I can do is just make sure that where I'm flying, I always have a glide slope that will drop me into a field, a landable option. Alright guys, the adventure continues. Had an awesome time last night, but this morning I'm with Will and Caleb and we're out at Lower Creek Airport here near Lenoir, North Carolina. Much more mountainous than what we saw last night, and so can't wait to get in the air, check it out. First of all, Caleb and Will had me out to their field here. This is Lower Creek
Airport.
And you guys had a fly-in here earlier this year, and it was a huge success. Thinking about doing it again next year. Tell me about this place, tell me about the fly-in.
Oh, this place is a little private airport and it's owned by Aviation Club. It's really a hidden gem, beautiful area, awesome people. And the last fly-in we lucked out with some great weather and had a great time with everyone that showed up, and definitely thinking about doing it again late spring, early summer this next year.
We usually have like 25 to 30 campsites available. Then we try to keep a really fun atmosphere in the area because we'll have food. A lot of the pilots will be out here flying their acrobatic planes or maybe ultralights during the day when we're not flying. So it's a really fun time for anything related to aviation.
And a beautiful area, because we're used to flying around the Piedmont of North Carolina. Don't get to be this close to the mountains that often,
Right.
and it is a stunning view.
Beautiful. It's beautiful up here. So
Interesting structure here in that this is a aviation club with memberships.
Yes.
So, I mean, that works out perfectly
Yep.
for you guys, and they're accepting of PPG. Sometimes they don't love us being around, but that's
Right.
that's cool. So
yep, everybody loves it here.
definitely a hidden gem. And thank you guys both for having me
Yeah,
out.
I'm glad you came.
Yeah, anytime.
And I got to have you guys out to my field too.
We're game.
Caleb's already up in the air, Will's about to launch. Then I'll follow them up there. I like to record people's launches and landings if I can, but I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on people either. Try to discreetly just get it. Let's go. Get on that power, kid. Hell yeah. Okay, wow. Check this out. Just getting the lay of the land here. Probably have South Mountain State Park over here, the bare rock exposed, great view. I'm just sniffing out to see if there's going to be any rotary near this mountaintop. There's very little wind. There's Will and there's Caleb down in the field. Look at this beautiful spot. No hikers here this morning. Wonder if there are trails. So just past Caleb there in the distance, you can see Table Rock Mountain and Hawksville. And I'd like to go hiking at Hawksville right after this flight. Just as a side note, the hike to the top of Table Rock is one of the prettiest hikes I've ever had in my life. This was last year. Okay, so I've just trimmed out. If you can see on the Sirocco, I have a green line, a second green line, and then there's a red line here. Beyond this double red, you don't use the your brake toggles as per the manual. And for me, just with an abundance of caution, I would typically just pull on the tip steering if I'm going to be trimmed out, even this far. Is that magical or what? Just gonna stay clear of the clouds here. Oh man, how beautiful. We're up here in the mountains. We can see all the clouds that are kind of hanging low to the ground. They're caught up in that valley there. Some of them are sneaking through and it's just perfect here. Plenty of outs. Here comes Will. Caleb is down in the clouds. Oh, dude. It doesn't get better than this. A little bit of rotor right here. It's kind of to be expected. I don't think it'll be bad. Alright, so we're getting close to the airport here.
Before I head back, I just want to have a quick look down in this quarry. There's no footage of the landing, but I did get out to do some hiking that afternoon. Even though there wasn't a summit, it was a great day, and I was on my way to my next meetup.
Guys, the great weather continues. We got about a half dozen pilots out here. We're at Pageland Airport in South Carolina. It's about an hour, maybe less than that from where I normally fly, and it's always good getting together with these guys. New area to me though, and so we're gonna head out to the east. There are some quarries and some other good stuff. Come check it out. Here's Marshall launching his Hadron 3 18-meter. Lucky dog. He's 2 for 2 on successful launches now. Here's Adam rocking the red, white, and blue tail. David with the Roadster 3 and Adam 80. And I was able to join them with an easy launch from this long field. These were some of the largest agricultural fields I've ever come across. And I found this sweet little sled ride down a hill into the huge cornfield. Close to the airport here, but we have a little bit of time, maybe 20 minutes before sunset, maybe less. But I figured we'd fly down here. It looks real pretty in this field, nice and green. Tons of power lines though, boy. Here's a tip for the beginner pilots. When you start your flying career on a slow and stable wing, you'll find yourself flaring 3 or 5 feet above the ground and burying those brakes. But as you move on to faster gliders, you'll be carrying so much energy into that landing that you'll have incredible control. You won't bury those brakes because that may cause you to balloon up. Instead, you'll press the brake toggles down with great control and foot drag into a perfect landing. Thanks for coming out and joining me, guys. Make sure you come back and check out the next flight.